Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little bit different. I've given you a lot of cruise ship tours, port tours, that type of thing. Wanted to give you a video today of the 7 things to consider when you're starting to look at booking a cruise. Okay, this is more for the newbies out there, but I think also experienced cruisers are going to benefit from this as well. I hope you enjoy the video and remember to subscribe to the channel. Okay, the 7 things to consider when booking a cruise, and yes, I do have my cheat sheet here with me. Number 1 is the length of the cruise, and I think this seems obvious, but you know, when you see a cruise ship commercial on TV and you look at your wife, you look at your kids and say, hey, wouldn't it be fun to go on a cruise? You might be thinking a week-long cruise, they're thinking a short cruise, something on a weekend. You know, you want to look at, are you looking at those 3 or 4 night cruises, or are you looking at the full week or even longer? There's cruises that are 10 or 11 days. Something that leaves out of Florida and goes all the way to Southern Caribbean is going to be a much longer cruise. It's going to be at least an 8 or 9 day cruise. So that's one of the factors to consider. The other thing is, where do you want to go? Are there cruise ports that you've seen on commercials, on a YouTube video, something like that, that you go, man, that would be really cool to go there to do scuba diving, something to go swim, whatever. You know, that would be another consideration. Try to find a cruise that touches on all the different islands you want to get to. Especially if a cruise is not something you're able to do every year, you want to maximize what you're going to get out of it. Number 3 is the time of year. And some of this for obviously people who are families that have kids in school, there's going to be a big factor there on when they can go and when it accommodates to their schedule or their kids' schedule. The other thing is to remember is that in the winter, and winter for, I would say this is more for Caribbean cruising, is really that November to April time frame. And the reason I bring that up is that's when the Caribbean specifically has more ships sailing there than any other time of the year. If you go during the summer, there's still plenty of options out there, but you might just have 1 or 2 ships out of Miami that are doing week-long cruises, where as opposed to in the winter, you may have 3, 4, 5 ships that are doing weekend cruises there. So that's one of your factors to consider. The other one I put down is the cruise port. Is it somewhere where you can drive or fly? This is going to go into the expense of the overall cruise. I mean, cruising is a great thing, good bang for your buck, but it's still, there's some cost factors to consider. Are you flying somewhere? If you have a family of 4 or family of 5, that's going to start to rack up the bucks right there just to get to the cruise port. If you're flying, please don't ever tell me you're flying the day of the cruise. Never, ever, ever do that. Always get there the day before, grab a hotel, hopefully somewhere near the cruise port, Uber over, but you think all of those things, now we have flight, now we have hotel, we got to get a meal that night, we got to Uber over. You got to kind of factor all of those things into it. I have the advantage of living in Florida, so I'm a couple hours drive from Lauderdale, Miami, Tampa, even Port Canaveral would take me a little under 4 hours on a good day. So when you're driving somewhere, if you can drive to Baltimore, if you can drive to Cape Liberty in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, you know, Los Angeles has a cruise port, Galveston, you know, if you're anywhere within one of those areas where it's driving distance, that's going to help your cost factor quite a bit. The next one, and this goes into it, is your budget. And think of what's included and what's not included. And this one is very general. You're going to have to get into the specifics of this when you book a cruise. And this is where I'm going to touch on this later, but one of your things is get a good travel agent. And if you want a cruise that is all-inclusive, meaning the cruise fare includes the gratuities, it includes internet, it includes the drink package and all that, the initial cost is going to be higher for you, but you'll end up saving as opposed to people who do it piecemeal and who get all of those things individually. So, you know, even parking at the cruise port, that has not gotten cheap at all. I know for me, if I do a 3 or 4 night cruise, the parking could be $100-$125 easy. So that's just another factor to consider with all of this. Another thing is, if you're doing any kind of excursions, look at the cost of those, get a good feel for it and what that might run you, because that's going to play into it as well. One of the other things I have down here is do your research. Watch a YouTube video like you're watching right now, but especially when you maybe have it narrowed down to a couple ships or this line or that line, take a look and see what people say about what are the benefits of Royal or Carnival or Norwegian or whoever you might be going on, and maybe the specific ship. You know, not all ships are built the same. The older ships are probably going to be smaller, maybe a little feature less than some of the bigger ones, but they may still offer a lot of different things at a reduced price because they've been out there sailing for years and years, making the money, or making the company money. So that's something to consider. And the very last thing, this should be number one, because to me this is the most important thing: find a good travel agent. I started being a travel agent a few years ago. Unfortunately, it was right before COVID, so that complicated matters. But I want you to find somebody. If it's not me, I want you to find a good travel agent that you can go to ask some of these questions. And I'm not saying any travel agents are good. I'm not saying any are bad. Travel agents will tend to fall within a niche that they are familiar with. So I'm sure there's travel agents out there that if you were booking a Disney vacation, they would know every aspect about it, everything about the hotels, the transportation, getting to the property, tickets, all that type of thing. I don't have that familiarity with it. I would happily learn if somebody wanted to do that, but when you are looking at booking a cruise, try to find a travel agent that, if they don't specialize in it, at least they know enough about some of the different cruise lines, the pluses and the minuses, to kind of guide you through that decision. I'm kind of loyal to Royal, but I recognize that these other cruise lines, there's a lot of things they do right. So whenever I give a proposal to a client, I give them 4 or 5 cruises that meet their criteria, but I don't stick with one cruise line. I mix it up and I give them a little bit of taste of the different cruise lines, maybe with some notes on, hey, keep in mind, this says it's free, but it's really just the first $50 is free if it's an excursion or something. So those are some of the items to consider. If you want to book with me, I would love to do that. I love doing this. I love cruising myself. I'm on a cruise ship right now. I hope you have a great time if you go, and please remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for checking out my video, and remember, if you're looking for a cruise, contact me and I'll find the perfect cruise vacation for you.